Teresa Drummond, and welcome to my tiny house here at Mills River, North Carolina at Oconee Bell Tiny Home Community. My house is an 8.5 by 24 foot long house. I built it in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm here at lot 27. This is the newest section that just got developed. I was very fortunate to get in. I had to really put my name in quickly because it's very popular here. It's a fantastic place to live. I like this lot in particular because it has a wonderful wide open area in front that they were going to have for the dogs. And I have a dog, so I wanted her to be able to play out in this area with the other dogs. And it also is at the end of the road, so I didn't have anybody on the other side of me, so I kind of feel a little bit more secluded. The lot rent here is $700 now, and that includes the water, sewer, all of the groundskeeping. We have a chicken coop and a community garden, clubhouse up the hill, and you can entertain there, you can do your laundry there. They even have a little workout facility. It's the only thing I have to pay is electricity. The exterior of my home is, of course, cedar and corrugated metal, which I love. The combination gives me a little bit of that cottage yet industrial feel. One of the reasons that I came to Oconee Bell was I wanted to get it situated in an area where it could actually be utilized properly, legally, and fully. Something that I, in the last 10 years, have just never been able to do. I've had it parked in my backyard and been limited in what I could do with it. So this is like the next chapter for the baby. So I have a back deck that I have not quite finished yet, but I'm in the middle of building my front porch, which I love. It's not quite screened in yet, but it will be screened in, so it'll be like a 3-season room that gives me a whole nother room where I can go out and enjoy the nature and just have a little bit more room to spread out when I entertain. I'd love for you to see my tiny house, so come on in, let's check it out. Welcome. This is my tiny house, and this is my dog, Miss Kelly, who's being very good, unusually good. I don't know how long that'll last. This is my tiny. I went to a tumbleweed workshop back in 2014, bought a plan, and then changed it all around. I decided that I wanted a bedroom on the ground floor because I'm getting older. I was already 51 or 2 at that time. And so I took away some of the area in this common space, living room and kitchen, in order to give myself the bedroom. I do not regret that at all. I absolutely would do it again. The only thing I probably would do different is I would go a little bit longer. This is 8.5 by 24, and I would probably go to 28 so that I could have a little bit more room up here. But everything else I really like. We're here in the living room, and just to give you a little bit of overview about what I did and why I did it. Like I said, this area is smaller, so it was really important to me that I have a lot of light bringing in the outside to the inside. So I made sure that I had light up here and the biggest window that I could find, which basically takes up the whole wall. But I love the accent of it all. I love the wood grain. It sort of gives a standout to all of the other walls, which are white. The space here is small, but for one person or even 2, it's perfectly fine. And the world of tiny is that you're here to eat, sleep, and get ready and get out. And so that works fine for me. I love it. Over here, my cabinetry, I had a custom cabinetry guy that did the job, and I'm very happy. He knew that the kitchen was very important to me. I'm not a great cook, but I like to cook. So I wanted to make sure that I could do everything that I need to do. Downside, no dishwasher. Kind of would like to have that. Might try to work it in at some point. But this is a microwave, convection oven, broiler combo. So I didn't have to have a stove. So far, it's worked out really well. Like the rest of us, I use it as a microwave 99% of the time. So I'm still learning how to do the oven. I've had some great things turn out and some not so great things turn out. These are induction cooking tops. I liked them because they allowed the space to stay pretty flat. So because I was in a smaller space up front to have my downstairs bedroom, I felt like this would be easier for me if I needed more cooking space, more space to put my stuff. And to that end, I also repurposed, in the late 90s and early 2000s, they had these armoires, these office armoires, where you could open up the doors and bring down a desk and everything. And we had one of those that was on its last legs. So I came over here, took out the piece when we were throwing it away, and just used this as a drop-down table, primarily for extra counter space for me. I love it. I like a lot of things about it. It's too long, a little bit narrow. So this will be a project for me in the next couple of months. So I'm going to change that and make it a little better. One thing that I said over and over and over in the bill was, I have to have storage. I have to have storage. I'm so afraid I won't have enough storage. I actually don't use all of the storage that I have. It's kind of crazy. But he did everything. It's great. I have pull-outs here for my silverware. So I just pop them in there when I'm done. These are deep, really deep, so I can put tons of standard kitchen stuff. And then my pots and pans are down there. This is another pull-out here. And I've got all my teas and just plastic bags and things like that. And then the big one, the pantry, is right here. And it pulls out. So tons of storage. He even did this little corner thing for, like, if you've got blenders. I've got a blender and a waffle maker, and so anything that's too tall to go in a normal cabinetry can go right up there. I love it. One of the other things that I really wanted in a kitchen was a refrigerator freezer. I saw lots and lots of videos where people were doing dorm refrigerators, or it was just, I did not want that. Like I said, the kitchen was very important to me, so I went with this. And I love it because it's just an excellent size. I mean, you can get tons, as you can see, tons of stuff in it. And then I have almost a full freezer. So this is a fully functioning kitchen. You can cook for 10 people here easily. And that was something that was really important to me, so I'm very glad that I did. One concept that my builder had when I was working with him to get up to the loft was to open this. This was a hideaway, and you would flip it open and the ladder would come out and then come down and you could go up it. Unfortunately, the concept didn't really work. So I've had to sort of try to figure out something that will. And what I've done is possibly not 100% there, but I bought a RV ladder because they're lightweight, they don't take up a lot of room, they hold a lot of weight. And what I thought I would do is just put it over here because it's pretty simple, it's not in the way. And then I could pull it out and then bring it over here, hook it up, and go straight up. I'm still not sure I like that concept. I'm working on it. When I don't use it like this, I just take it off of here and put it out to here and go up myself on this side. Neither are great. It's a work in progress. I need to get up and do more with the loft because it's really the area that I've kind of neglected. Everything was so important to me to have down here that I kind of forgot to focus on what I could do up there. Tons of storage, lots of things. I've just got to figure it out. So I'm open to ideas, actually, if you guys have some. I had lost my job in 2011, and so I had to sell my house, which was like 3,200 square feet, stupid big. But it was what I had worked really hard to get, and so it was really hard to let that go. And when I sold that, I had to move into one of the fourplex units that I have. So I went from 3,200 square feet to 600 square feet, and no job. At that point, I think I really was disillusioned with corporate America. I was disillusioned with where I was as a woman in commercial real estate because it's tough. It's like finance and other things. There's just not a lot of them in there. It's hard to break in. You don't get mentored the way the guys do. And I was very frustrated. And so then I started going into that, okay, what can I do so that I don't ever have this to happen again to me? And so that was the catalyst to say, okay, no matter what happens, as long as I've got a roof over my head, I mean, clearly, 600 square feet, it was really weird. First 6 months I was there, I was in a pity party. Oh, I'm such a failure. I've lost everything. I can't do anything. And I was, just total pity party. And then after about 6 months, it was really weird. It's like I would come in and the place felt cool. It was like, it took me 15 minutes to clean it. I didn't have any expenses. Everybody else was paying my expenses. And I was like, okay, what else do I need? Nothing. I might want a few things, but I don't need anything. So that's really started the wheels rolling for me. And then when the tiny house thing sort of came up, I don't even know where, I can't even remember where that came up. But when it happened, it was like, oh, and I could put one in the backyard here at the quad and I'd have 5 units, and I was like all over it. I just decided to get passionate about it and go for it. It was scary. Here we are 10 years later and it's still going strong, so it all worked out. I actually was really serious about putting it in the back of my quad, and it actually did end up there for 3 years. But I wanted it there so that I could then move out there and rent my unit. It's a way to gain extra income, but not have a lot of extra outgo, because I was paying this off as I was doing it. So it would be basically a free place to stay, and then I could rent my place out. Because the whole idea was to stay out of corporate America if at all possible. In the middle of all of that, I met a guy and then ended up buying a house, and he was not a tiny house person. So I had to sort of shift gears, and I ended up using it as a guest house. I ended up also renting it out for transitional housing, which I really think that's what I think everybody's missed that doesn't get tiny, is that it's such a fabulous place for just being here for 2 to 6 months or whatever you need. I actually stayed in it for 13 weeks because it was during the pandemic. I am all about renting out. I have a duplex and I live in the duplex, and I'm considering whether I'll rent here, whether I'll rent there, or whether I'll do a little bit of both. Whether I'll just come here and stay for a while if I rent that out, or I will stay there when I rent this out. I just hope to be able to just be a little bit more flexible to get income from it and then enjoy it as much as I can until it's time to say goodbye. Let's go check out the bedroom and the bathroom. All right, welcome to the palatial bathroom. We have, my favorite part is the sink base and the sink. I was looking for something totally cool and he nailed it. The same cabinet guy that did my cabinets in the kitchen did this. Also, I loved going with the corrugated metal. It sort of tied in the outside and gave it that little bit of rustic feel. I'd seen a couple of videos like that, pictures of that over the years, and I liked it. So I do have a 32-inch base for the shower, and I would recommend going larger if at all possible. This is fine for me. I'm 5'7". Everything is fine back here, but it is much smaller in the bathroom and the bedroom. I have a regular toilet here. I did have a composting toilet here. I had a Sunmar composting toilet. I love them. I actually sold them for a little while. They're great. But now that I'm being able to be legal and in a community, I needed to get a regular toilet. So I got rid of the composting toilet, and this is why I have a box here. The sewer has to have an air pipe to go out. So we kind of just utilized the same vent that I had used for my composting toilet and just used it for the regular toilet. So it worked out really well, and now I have a little extra place to put stuff. Coming out of the bathroom, immediately we go to the bedroom, which is a bedroom. There's literally not much room for anything else, you'll see. But because I had it back here in a cubby, and there was really no way to get out in case of an emergency, I wanted to have a back door. So very unusual to tiny houses, I can get out either door in the case of an emergency. It's small, but it is very useful. So I'm very happy with that. All right, in my bedroom, which you'll see, it has room for just a queen size bed. I was very, very adamant that I needed a queen size bed. And so there is bed with wall and wall. It makes it really interesting to make the bed daily, but it's all good. I'm still happy with it. It is back here in a cubby though, and so getting the airflow from the front to the back has been a challenge. So what I've done is I've taken an extra fan up front, blowing this way in the evening, and I've added a fan in here that blows directly on the bed to give me airflow. And it has worked beautifully. It's a very simple fix for what I thought was going to be a complicated problem, so I'm glad that it wasn't. The bed also lifts up and there's storage underneath. And I also have a small closet right there that will open up for hanging goods. So it's got everything you need. It's just very compact. For it to get functional, I think I was at about $48,000. And then if I add up everything, like moving it, so every time I moved it, I had to put in new electrical and new water. So that's always another $1,500 every time you do it. And then you got to pay to move it. And then when I moved it here, the move was a little bit more expensive because it wasn't just down the road. I could get a guy with a truck for $100 when I was just wandering around Winston-Salem with it. But when I came up here, that was a little bit bigger. And then I had to get it set up here. And then I decided, okay, this is going to be it. And they require you to skirt it. And then I wanted to build some outdoor space. So all in all, now I'm probably getting close to about 75 or 80. I had very little building experience. I'm in real estate. I understand construction. I understand build outs, but I don't do them. I don't know codes, and I don't know what the best thing is to do. So I relied a lot on the people that I chose. And I started off working with a guy who was semi-retired, construction guy, who had land in Mocksville and wanted to start a tiny house community. So I was like, you are rocking it. You're hitting every check box I need. And I got in touch with him, and he started off great, but he was moving really, really slow. So after he got it all framed up and everything, I went ahead and went to someone else. And unfortunately, they had some personal issues going on. They did get a lot of stuff done, but it took 5 or 6 months, and we were supposed to be like 5 or 6 weeks, and it still wasn't done. And so I then had to turn to another tiny home builder by that time that was in the area that was just getting started. And so I went to them and said, okay, I want to do a couple of things. I want to go backwards and I want to get it certified, because I feel like at this point, it seems like the research that I was doing, things were at least being a little accepted if you had RV designation. And if you had nothing, man, it was putting you out in this really weird world. So we did that, and they were really good about that, and it got done fairly quickly. It was more expensive than I really wanted it to be. That added a bunch of costs because I had to go backwards and undo stuff to make it happen. When I finished it and I had the $49,000 into it, I knew at that point, if I turned around and did it again and built the same thing, I could probably build it for about $35,000. I mean, when I moved it to the house that I bought back in 2016, I rented it out. I didn't rent it out long term. It was usually 2 to 6 months at a time for folks because it was transitional. Almost everybody there was either students at School of the Arts, or they just moved there and didn't know really what they wanted to do. I actually did not get a complaint there. And so I think that it was just a little bit more laid back, a lot of rental property around me, so it just kind of laid under the radar, and it was really good. Transitions happen every day for all of us, and we don't have places for that. You've got to sign a 12-month lease, you've got to get furniture, you've got to do all these things, and these are just like plug and play. And it's so common sense and so logical that it has been frustrating for me as a real estate person for the 10 years that I've had this, that we haven't moved forward in just the acceptance of them in city limits. I think they're just missing it. My backyard is downtown. They want to bring more people downtown. The 2030 master plan said we want to have X number of people living downtown. Well, there's no more land. You can't build more, land. So you've got to figure out a way to get more people in. Well, I have a backyard. I would be perfectly happy to work with the city to figure out the sewer and the water and do a separate. I would do whatever they want me to do. And I know it fits because I set mine there for 4 years. So why are we not doing it? What have we got to do to get these people to understand this is not sub-level housing? This is nicer than a lot of apartments that I've lived in and that I know people who live in. And it's just undervalued, underappreciated, and I don't understand it. I don't. It's such a no-brainer in my book. I do see it as an economical way to be able to live and still enjoy life and not feel like you're exhausted financially. Ideally, I'd love my own land, but it's really hard in North Carolina. So this is the second best thing. And I'm fortunate. Mine is paid for. I've had it for a long time, and I was able to pay for it pretty much as I went. So it's just the rent. And you can't live anywhere all in for $700 or $800 a month. It's just impossible. And the more I stay in it, the more I realize I could do this. I don't have to, but I could and I would. And I think that's the important thing for me. And that's also why it's hard to think about getting rid of it, because it's like, okay, it's just an extra. It's just an extra. If somebody needs a place to be, that I know they have a place to be. If I need a place to be, I can have a place to be. My sister's up here, and if I need to come up here for her, I don't have to be in her hair. I can be here. So this just felt right for the time to move it. Here we are 10 years later talking about where we were and how early. You know, I really think we're both pretty cool because we did it really early. We knew we were ahead of the curve on so many things. And I'm kind of proud of that, actually. I think it's pretty cool. Because I remember when I was telling people I'm building a tiny house, they're like, you're doing what? I mean, you probably got a lot of that. Oh, wow, that's pretty weird. Can I see it? You know? And so it is. It kind of has a cool factor to it.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Instagram for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.